In his new book, The Business Secrets of Drug Dealing, an almost true account, author Matt Taibbi details the secret life of his anonymous friend who happened to be a high-level drug dealer, but who also never got caught. The anonymous source also co-authored this book with him.
So, friend of the show, co-host of the Useful Idiots podcast, journalist Matt Taibbi joins us now to discuss this book. Matt, we love the title. We also love the departure from politics, media, and all of that. What's going on here, man? What'd you guys write about?
So somebody I knew in, let's just say, another capacity, who was a source of mine, who I'd worked with for a considerable amount of time, just came out to me one night and just said, "Oh, by the way, I'm a drug kingpin." And
Kingpin.
And so he started telling me this story about his life, and he had this kind of double life. And it was so interesting that we decided to make a story about it, in part because he had this system about how to avoid getting caught that became the backbone and the spine of this novel, of what is a novel here.
So talk a little bit about that aspect of the book. So the book, you say, is sort of like part true, based on these rules and based on some of the things from his life, but it's also sort of invented. So take us through that piece.
Yeah, so all the rules are real. A lot of the situations are close to the truth. We didn't want to make it a straight up memoir. We wanted to make it a little bit more interesting than that. So I think you can confidently say that most of the situations that happen in the book, something like that happened. But we wanted to make it sort of fast paced in a narrative way. But basically what he did, he's a very smart, well-educated guy, African-American guy, and he decided early on that he wanted to not be like, the people the traditional drug dealer who, ended up getting caught and, was conspicuous about what they were doing, and constructed an elaborate set of precautions that he wrote down and followed his whole life. And so the book is built around these rules that are designed to prevent capture and to keep the police off his back.
So it seems to have worked, possibly for whoever this person is. I guess it kind of reminds me of like a Stringer Bell type character or whatever from The Wire. When the way that the way you're talking about it, give us some, I guess, insights to some more like harrowing aspects of the life, maybe from the book. You don't have necessarily spoilers or anything, but just give us a tease.
So he's definitely dealing with people who, one of the things that he points out is that, never have guns, but no shooters. So like if you actually have a gun on your person, like you're going to get in trouble. Like not only you'll end up shooting somebody, you'll end up getting shot yourself, but you need to have people who are able to handle themselves with weapons, because that's how things get settled in this world. So there are a lot of situations in this book where, he ended up in life and death kinds of situations, and part of what he ended up doing was developing a system for avoiding that in the future. But he was, like for instance, one of the rules that he has is always live in a place that has a doorman, because it's just harder, A, for the police to get in, and B, for people who might try to shoot you. So he's got a rule for everything.
What was this like for you writing it? Because I know your original aspiration was actually be a novelist. And then you told me that you felt like you didn't really have the talent to be a novelist, which I'm not really sure that I totally buy. But this is kind of like an in-between. Like it's kind of based on the truth, but you get to exaggerate and elaborate on it. You've got a collaborator here. What was that experience like writing it?
Yeah, I think for me, the gap for me as a writer is that I'm just not really good at inventing details. So with this situation, I had somebody who had an amazing story, and his character was really interesting. So it's really kind of half journalistic what this enterprise was. I used kind of the same method you would use for writing a book like In Cold Blood. So you would do interviews over and over and over again with real people, and then you kind of construct a novelistic format around those interviews. So it was a lot of fun to do, and I think what really makes it is that the character is great, and his rules are hilarious.
Wow.
When you first came out to you, Like, what was that moment like? What were the first questions that you had? Did it affect your relationship with him at all?
Not at all. No, I thought it was hilarious. Look, he's not a heroin dealer. One of his rules is never sell anything that doesn't come out of the ground. So he deals in weed and mushrooms, basically, right? Like, he started with mushrooms as a young person. He's not a violent guy. He's not immoral. In fact, he's actually quite moral in certain ways. In other ways, he thinks of himself as an archetypal American capitalist, and that's actually what a lot of what this book is about, is that he studied how people make money in this country, and so he put that into his system. But it didn't affect our relationship. It just made it more interesting. He's just a really funny dude, and has a really interesting way of looking at the world.
Fascinating, man.
Is he out of the game now?
Sort of.
Okay, all right.
A new endeavor. Let's just say that. Yeah.
Right. A new endeavor. Love it.
Yeah.
Very interesting, Matt. Congrats on the book. Where can people check it out?
Well, you can find it on Amazon now. The book is going to be out shortly, or you can go to OR Books on the website and buy it there. It'll be in bookstores in the near future.
Awesome.
Get
Thanks,
the
man.
book, guys.
Appreciate
As
it.
always, subscribe to Matt's Substack. Great to see you, Matt.
All right. Thanks a lot.
See ya.
We're rising for you after this.